for the man who allegedly kidnapped a woman in Matthews. Police say witnesses saw 23-year-old Logan Calloway force a woman into his black BMW. We're told the two do know each other. Thankfully, the woman was later found safe, but Calloway now has 3 warrants out for his arrest. If you know where he might be, call police.
Today is the last day for members of Charlotte's police union to cast their vote of no confidence against CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings. This comes after reports of a secret settlement between the city and the chief tied to a dispute involving former council member Tark Hickory. Chief Jennings already announced that he plans to retire early next year.
Mecklenburg County leaders are going to vote tonight on a $2.5 billion budget. It fully funds schools but slashes supports for nonprofits. The final decision could impact property taxes and services countywide.
All right, let's take a look at those area roadways as we are following still. Some slowdowns. One accident, though, it's out towards Huntersville. If you typically take I-77, southbound lanes are being impacted by that. There's a crash on I-77 near Samford Road. Chris, what's going on?
Well, you have one day that has the nothing but sunshine icon, and then all the rest have a bunch of clouds and lightning bolts and percentages. That's why today is my pick of the week. It's also going to feel a lot more humid as we head into the weekend. So right now, feeling decent as we should in early June, and then it's feeling more like we do each and every day during the summertime, near 90, humid, with a chance for storms to end the day, especially Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
85 is perfectly pleasant when it's not humid.
Exactly, and that's what we have today. One more day.
Nice. Today is even better.
No complaints here.
That's right.
Good.
In a few days.
Then you can complain.
Maybe.
To me in Majestic.
A reminder, the news does not end here. We're live all day long with breaking news, weather, and traffic.
That's on WCNC Plus, but we are streaming live now. Why don't you join us there and make it a great Tuesday.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We're going to jump right in this morning with a first check of that WCNC weather impact forecast with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy.
And I have a glorious introductory shot for you. Check it out. Beautiful blue skies, just some upper level clouds and a little bit of haze to begin the day. This is pretty much how our day is going to look the entirety of your Tuesday. A-OK in my book. Also sunshine across the board. So pretty much take yesterday and add 5 degrees to it. It's an easy comparison, and it is technically a little bit stickier than yesterday, but still overall comfortable, especially compared to where we are going. As long as these numbers that you see here on the screen are below that 60-degree point, it feels A-OK. Once it gets above that 60-degree point, it's starting to feel sticky to humid. And once you get above 70, that air you can wear. And we're potentially going to have that a little bit later on in the forecast. Check this out. Seeing these jump into the green zone. So you're feeling it really Wednesday and beyond. By Monday, that could be really our highest dew point of the year so far, or AKA our muggiest day going forward. So we're really flipping over the switch to that summertime feel pretty quickly. That's why today is the day that I want you to get outside and enjoy the non-humid environment. 84 around Statesville, 84 in Hickory, and then 76 degrees in Boone. And then that sunshine sticking with us all day long. Overnight tonight, mostly clear, but we will see an increase of cloud cover by around sunrise tomorrow. And then those temperatures right about 66 degrees. It's also going to feel a lot more humid by tomorrow morning as well. So the introduction of that moisture, along with some fronts and some other low pressure systems at B, that is going to allow for a better chance for rain most days this week. That's why today and Friday are special. And the spotty chance on Wednesday, likely we're staying dry, but still it shows a chance for rain. So here is the main focal point of our forecast. Tropical development. It's only at 10%. So likely this isn't going to be a numbered tropical depression nor a tropical storm. If it does exceed expectations, by the way, it'll be Tropical Storm Andrea, barely making it that name before it makes landfall in South Carolina to right around Wilmington. But it's this time frame, anywhere from 2 to 4 days, that we're going to have a chance for it to start to check all the boxes to become a tropical depression. For one, I think it's still going to be a breezy system, providing some gusts up to about 30 miles per hour on the shoreline. And it just depends on how far west it's going to go or how far east. It's going to depend on some of our rain totals. So here's a close look at our future cast. We're seeing clouds build through tomorrow, turning overcast by the end of the day. The wettest scenario that I'm seeing here, and this is the one I'm showing you right now, we're seeing rain starting to blossom really south of I-85. I think the heaviest rain is going to be down towards the south and east, and it should be out of the Charlotte area by about the middle of the afternoon, still sticking around Albemarle and around Southern Pines and Rockingham by the end of the day, and then we're drying out for a day or so. But coming up, I'm going to break down how much rain you could see for this system, and also a closer look at our weekend, why we're seeing an exceptional amount of 40% chances for scattered thunderstorms, that and more coming up. Also, all of your 90-degree climatology, where we're sitting in the record books. But first, we have to check our morning commute to kick off WCNC Plus with Majestic Storm.
All right, good morning, everyone. Area roadways are nice and dry. We thankfully get lots of sunshine today. It's going to be beautiful. Our morning commute doesn't look too bad either. Nothing too out of the ordinary at this point. I-77, York County cameras, all looking good. Now, our live traffic maps, we do have a lot of green, but we're also starting to see those backups. I want to take you to I-77 out towards Huntersville. If you're watching from Huntersville, good morning to you. We do have those slowdowns on I-77 southbound. There's a crash right now near Samford Road. That's exit 25. So allow for a few extra minutes if that's where you typically travel. You can see off to the distance there is that slowdown there. Hard to see, but it's just making for your morning commute to be about 5 minutes longer than it should be. And then as we're heading out towards I-85, those inbound lanes, also lots of red, stop and go traffic, no accidents there. It's just what we typically see this time of the day. We have had a lot of overnight construction here between Pineville and Providence. That has since cleared, so things are looking pretty nice for the commute this morning. Drive times, though, here we go, about 45 minutes if you're coming in from Waxhaw, about 43 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. 7:04 now. The FBI is offering a reward this morning as the search continues for a suspect in the Hickory mass shooting.
12 people were shot and 1 died after somebody opened fire at a pool party. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live at Hickory this morning. And Richard, police can't solve this thing on their own. We know there were a lot of people there who may have seen something, but they're not getting a lot of answers.
Yeah, that's right, Ben. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. This Tuesday morning to all our plushes. I want to tell you something. We've been standing in front of this sign since yesterday, actually since Sunday. There's a bullet hole in that sign that we showed to police earlier. Now they've increased their crime scene, so to speak, to make sure that this bullet hole probably is involved with the shooters who were up the street. So that's what's happening. They're widening their search, or they're widening their search for evidence. As you can see now, this spot is here. They've also added that $15,000 reward by the FBI, hoping that's going to jog somebody's memory as well. Now, as we take a look at video, that's because they say that $15,000 is important, because it may make somebody say, I'm going to come forward either publicly or anonymously about this shooting that spanned a large area near the house, inside as well as outside. Investigators believe there were multiple shooters involved in this shooting. It happened around 12:45 Sunday morning. Police responded to this residence on Walnut Acres Drive, where approximately 100 people had gathered for that party, that pool party, a lot of them high school age. That's when someone opened fire, or people opened fire. The gunfire, so some 80 shots, left one person dead, injured 11 others, with at least one of those still in critical conditions. Those victims ranged in ages from 16 to 58. And despite the efforts by police, those interviews they've done with more than 70 people, talking to them and reviewing surveillance footage, no arrests have been made. Authorities have not publicly identified any suspects as of yet. They say that they hope that that reward will lead to the people or the person responsible for this shooting.
It sounded like someone had maybe thrown a firecracker into the front yard. So then I got up. Then all of a sudden there was more shooting.
There's certainly a lot of people that were at the event, and even more people that probably have some knowledge concerning this. Some people are often reluctant to become involved, and we have seen in our experience that a reward is a motivator.
Yeah, and they hope that motivation will occur so that they can find out who's responsible, so that especially the neighbors in this neighborhood and the victims, all of them, including the victim who passed, that their families can have some sort of solace. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as they become available, guys. But right now, that's the scene right here in Catawba County. We'll send it back to you.
We know this was a big pool party, and I know there's been some conflicting information out there. This home, where this all happened, were people living in it at the time, or was this a short-term rental like a Airbnb or something?
Yeah, that's what a lot of neighbors have been discussing, saying that they know the name of the owner of this house. They say that they've never seen him, or they haven't seen him regularly. They believe that that's the case. Of course, that's something we're still looking into. But right now, a lot of neighbors say, regardless, they want the people who are responsible for this to be brought to justice. I can tell you one other thing about this party. It was one of those parties that were advertised on social media. So apparently the people who gave the party were not the owners of this residence.
Interesting. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there in Hickory. Keep us posted, Richard. Right now, a search is underway for the man who allegedly kidnapped a woman in Matthews. It happened yesterday just before noon on Matthews Mint Hill Road. Police say witnesses saw 23-year-old Logan Calloway force a woman into the back of his black BMW. We're told the two do know each other. Thankfully, the woman was later found safe. But Calloway now has 3 warrants out for his arrest. If you know where he might be, call police. Another person facing charges this morning in the case of Julio. He's the stolen French bulldog we've told you about. Tahari Taylor now charged with felony stolen goods. Authorities say text messages from Taylor indicate that he had Julio just hours after somebody stole the victim's car with a dog inside. Julio remains missing this morning. So if you have any information about where he might be, call Crime Stoppers.
Audrey Kell teachers and parents are sending a strong message to the district this morning. They're concerned over the unexplained suspension and sudden retirement of Principal Jamie Brooks. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard spoke with those involved in the demonstration.
From protests outside of school to a wave of teacher absences, the call for transparency among CMS district leaders is becoming impossible to ignore.
Behind closed doors, Audrey Kell High School teachers are gathering, not for lesson plans or end-of-year wrap-ups, but to organize, to speak, and to fight for the truth. But many here are still afraid to go on camera in fear of retaliation.
I am friends personally with several teachers, and I understand completely their reluctance to go on camera because they don't want to suffer any consequences. This is not just a job for them. This is their passion.
But many feel that passion is being overshadowed by silence from district leaders. So some teachers are protesting, with the school also confirming call-outs on Monday.
I think we need to make ourselves heard. They are trying to be heard. We still not hear from CMS about what is going on.
Audrey Kell staff says they did bring in enough substitute teachers to cover open slots, but some parents say it's not enough. They say the impact this has on students and the school's community is very real.
Timing of this left the school in chaos at a time when students are trying to complete finals. It's been very upsetting for parents, for students, and for staff.
The last day of school is June 10th. But for many here at Audrey Kell, this fight goes beyond the final bell. That's why they're coming together, unified and determined, ahead of the next CMS meeting to demand transparency they've waited for weeks.
Dr. Hill, not so long ago, promised us all improved transparency.
We need partnership from the CMS board and the superintendent.
That school board meeting is set for Thursday at 6 p.m. Of course, we'll be there and be sure to bring you the latest updates. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Tradisha Woodard.
Today is the last day for members of Charlotte's police union to cast their vote of no confidence against CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings. This comes after reports of a secret settlement between the city and the chief tied to a dispute involving former council member Hickory. Now, while this vote won't decide Jennings' future, it does send a strong message. The chief has already announced plans to retire early next year. Well, speaking of votes, the Charlotte City Council passed an informal vote on that $3.6 billion budget proposal. However, the proposal is hitting some bumps this morning. Sales tax revenue is lower than expected, and there are more funding requests than the city can afford. Some council members say this needs a larger conversation, like looking at new ways to use the tourism tax. They're also talking about cutting those unfilled positions and increasing city fees. Now, here's a breakdown of those fees per month. That would be an increase of $1.35 for solid waste removal, $5.47 for water, and 67 cents for stormwater. The final vote is expected on Monday. In South Carolina, the governor's office says nearly 100 people have been detained in a targeted immigration operation. Authorities responded to a noise complaint against an allegedly unlicensed nightclub. It led them to what officials are calling a cartel after-party. There, law enforcement arrested 80 people who were allegedly in the country illegally, including members of cartels, gangs, and an international murder suspect. 10 minors were also found inside that nightclub.
Looking ahead, if you plan to travel through South Carolina tomorrow, don't be shocked at an increase in highway patrol. That is because state officials are practicing their annual hurricane evacuation exercise. The drill makes sure state agencies know what to do if a big hurricane hits. They'll test evacuation routes like I-26, US 501, and SC 544. But it should not impact regular traffic. And tomorrow, you don't want to miss Hurricane IQ, a WCNC weather impact special. Our team's going to walk you through the hurricane predictions for this year, take a look back at the devastation from Helene, and explain the science behind hurricanes. Be prepared this hurricane season. Catch Hurricane IQ 8 p.m. tomorrow on WCNC or streaming right here on WCNC Plus.
And you didn't expect that we were already going to be talking about tropical development this early. So hurricane season officially started on Sunday, June 1st, goes 183 days until November 30th. And storms can still form after that. We've had hurricanes multiple times in December. Hope that doesn't happen this year. And our tropical development, even though we are showing you this little bubble here, still a very low chance that we're going to be numbering or naming this storm. By the way, the first name for the Atlantic hurricane list is Andrea. And of course, if this becomes a tropical depression, it'll just be TD1, a really attractive name. You can expect those rain showers to really start to affect us by Thursday morning. But There's really a one of two scenarios here. I know it's Tuesday, so we have a general idea. For one, this was looking like, hey, it's going to be offshore, just some clouds for your Thursday. Now it looks like rain is going to be a good possibility, especially if you're watching from Wadesboro to the southeast. It's right in here that I don't think you're going to miss out on the rain. There's a chance that we have low volume of rain for the Charlotte area to kick off your Thursday morning. But here's the wettest scenario that I have. A good soaker, especially southeast of Charlotte through much of your Thursday morning. Meanwhile, for you in Banner Elk and Boone off towards the north, a whole lot of nothing. So that's something great for you for your Thursday. And then eventually this system is going to work its way further off towards the north and east. So that means that it could rain pretty much all day long. The further east that you go, it just really depends. So here's the two different scenarios that I think are most likely for your rainfall totals. Up to a trace to 1/100th of an inch around the I-40 corridor, less than 1/10 of an inch to Charlotte, and then at least a 1/4 inch to the southeast. But this one kind of aligns with that futurecast that I was showing you. 1/10 to a 1/4 inch around Charlotte, but up to an inch of rain possible around Sherrod or Rockingham. Close to 3 to 4 inches in some parts of the eastern Carolinas, which is good and bad news. You could see a flooded parking lot as we were seeing from the last line of storms that we had recently on the eastern side of the state, or also it could further help some of that drought relief that some areas is still under a moderate to even a severe drought in South Carolina. Our atmospheric moisture is also surging behind the system, so it takes a tropical system to return that tropical air. As long as you have those yellows and reds around, you're going to be feeling it, my friends. There will be a few breaks here and there, but nothing really huge and permanent. By next Tuesday, it starts to feel a little bit better, less wet of environment, but this is going to allow those skeeters to really flourish. So starting tomorrow, we're at a high level for our skeeter meter. And the reason why is the more moisture is in the air and the warmer we get, actually, the more that they love it. Really, temperatures anywhere from about 80 to 90, they thrive. Whenever you have dew points getting close to about 65 to 70, it really allows them to move freely because the more moisture in the air actually makes it easier for them to fly. And that's exactly what we have on Thursday and Friday. So sadly, we're into that yuck status and we're pretty much going to stay there for a couple of months. Our warmest days so far of 2025, it's actually back in April. April 5th, we hit 88 degrees and we couldn't get past 87 during the month of May. June has a much better shot. We will hit 90 degrees eventually. It's only been less than a handful of times that we've hit our first 90 degree in July. But over the last few years, you can see that May 20th is where we should do it. Last year, the first time we did it was June 13th. It was June 3rd before that. And then the previous years mainly in May. So Saturday, I think, is our best shot of hitting 90 degrees. But we can't hit it yet. So I think at least it's going to be our warmest day of the year. It's just going to be a close call. So 90 degrees on Saturday. One thing that really changes heading into the weekend is that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, each day will be humid enough with a nearby front that we could end the afternoon and start the evening with a scattered shower and thunderstorm. So I want you to keep that in mind, especially if you're going to the Charlotte Ascent game. That's going to be on Sunday afternoon. And then eventually we're back to the lower to the mid 80s by next Monday and Tuesday, but certainly feeling a lot more summer-like. Majestic, how are you doing this morning? What's going on traffic-wise?
I'm doing pretty good. It's beautiful outside. Looking forward to spending some time in the outdoors today. It's going to be nice, and so will your morning commute. It is gorgeous. Grab those sunglasses. Take it easy. This afternoon, you'll either be rolling down your windows or cranking up the AC. Want to show you I-77 here. We do have a bit of a backup. Kind of hard to see, but it is there. This is still frozen. The traffic is moving. It's just moving rather slowly, and it's because there is still this ongoing accident. It's here in Huntersville. If you typically drive this way, I-77 southbound, there's a crash there near Samford Road. That is at exit 25. Delays are about 5 minutes right now. And then we're seeing those typical slowdowns. I-85, you can see traffic is only moving about 15-20 miles an hour. So inbound lanes seeing our typical congestion. I-77 wanted to zoom it on out. This is also not an accident, just a lot of red, but nothing too out of the ordinary. And much of the same here. I-485, the outer lanes out towards Harrisburg. You'll encounter a little bit of a slowdown there. Take it easy. Enjoy the sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful start to your Tuesday morning commute. Lisa.
Thanks, Majestic. 7:19 now. This morning, North Carolina's new DMV commissioner is promising shorter wait times and fewer headaches. Paul Tyne is now a month into the job. Right now, Tyne says that he is working on 85 different DMV projects. Many of those are aimed at combating delays. Roughly 80 new driver's license examiners are undergoing training. After they are done, they will join offices statewide to increase service. Governor Stein spoke in Raleigh just last week, calling on the General Assembly to boost investment into the department.
People shouldn't have to line up for hours at the DMV or take days off work or use their vacation time in order to get their driver's license or whatever other business they need. Our DMV employees need better working conditions and more support so they can more effectively provide high quality service to all North Carolinians.
Commissioner Tyne says the DMV also recently revamped its website, including removing the wait time tracker, which customers often said misled them into thinking their wait time was 30 minutes or less, only to end up waiting for hours.
7:20 right now on WCNC Plus. Now to some national headlines. The man who allegedly attacked a crowd of protesters in Colorado with a flamethrower facing 16 counts of attempted murder this morning, as well as a federal hate crime. Police say 45-year-old Muhammad Solomon is accused of carrying out the attack, which injured 12 people. Solomon's originally from Egypt, was here illegally after his visa expired back in 2023. The attack happened while a group was marching outside a church on Sunday to support the hostages still being held in Gaza. This morning, many in that community still trying to wrap their heads around the attack.
I think it's hard for any community member right now in Boulder to answer the question of whether they feel safe.
You can feel incredibly sad, you can feel angry, you can feel a whole range of emotions. And the most important thing is we're here together. We've got each other's backs. We're taking care of each other.
Police say Solomon admitted to planning the attack for more than a year and posed as a gardener to get close to the group. He also reportedly told officials he didn't regret the whole thing and would do it again.
We are following another tragedy in San Antonio this morning, where police now say a man shot and killed Sunday night was a former King of the Hill voice actor Jonathan Joss. Police arrested that suspect shortly after the incident. He is now being held in a $200,000 bond. Neighbors say the suspect and Joss lived close to each other and had a long-standing feud, claiming the two argued often and faced off with weapons. Joss was best known for his role as John Redcorn in King of the Hill. It aired from 1997 to 2010. He was 59 years old.
Charlotte's historic Brooklyn neighborhood is now home to the city's first innovation district, the Pearl, designed to be a transformative space for healthcare in our area.
In addition to being the city's first four-year medical school, WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith shows us how it's seeking solutions beyond just education.
In an area known for its rich culture,
it brought tears to my eyes to think what this was.
Minnie Thompson is just one member of the Brooklyn Coalition who remembers what this neighborhood used to be. Now she sees this new hub built within the formerly predominant African American community.
I am very proud of it. And this land is my land, your land, and everybody.
A project that lines the skies of the Queen City has finally come to life, bringing in thousands of new jobs.
A high percentage of those jobs will not require a traditional college degree. Is opportunity for everybody across the board. That's what makes it so exciting.
An opportunity for everyone, including those seeking higher education in the medical field at the Wake Forest University School of Medicine. It's the city's first four-year medical school, all made possible with the support of Atrium Health and Wexford Science and Technology.
We're just proud of that. We needed to have that. We can't export talent. We've got to keep talent here. We've got to grow our talent, and this is one of the ways that we get to do that.
Not only does the new development generate achievable job opportunities, it presents educational opportunities for students as early as those in grade school.
I look at it from cradle to the grave, right? There's something for everyone to be able to utilize it, whether it's coming through for the purposeful walk, there's a mental health component to it, there is a science and technology component, there's a community component to it. So it's for everyone.
From what it was, now we don't have to travel afar for medical help. It's right here.
The Leading Edge Medical Space will begin its first 4-year class matriculation in exactly 1 month this July. To learn more about the Pearl, visit our WCNC app. In Charlotte, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, now we're going to take a quick break, but make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another check on your traffic and weather in just 2 minutes, and then we'll be back with more of the day's top stories starting at 7:30.
Good morning, everybody. Yesterday, 80 degrees. Today, 85 and feeling just as great. So get outside and enjoy it. Just a little hazy, just like yesterday as well. So highs in the lower to the mid 80s across the greater Charlotte area. By the way, that's right where we should be this time of the year. Today's dry, Friday's dry. Outside of that, you have a chance for scattered rain Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And we're seeing temperatures kind of go all over the place. We're right around 80 degrees on Thursday, and that is an approaching system that will take over for your Thursday morning and the afternoon. After that, back to around 90 degrees, feeling a lot more humid as that summertime surge joins us for the weekend. And we also have a much better chance for rain really late afternoon, heading into the evening, Saturday, Sunday, heading to Monday as we cool down slightly. Majestic, what do people need to know as we head out for your morning commute?
Well, we are tracking some more traffic, that's for sure. More people are hitting those roads for your Tuesday morning commute. You can see I-77 here at Atondo Ave starting to become a little more congested. Also, you can see our live traffic maps, more accidents to let you know about. I do want to let you know about the most impactful one, though. It's right here, really highlighted in this red. The outer loop of I-485 right past University City Boulevard. There's a crash there. It's blocking the center lanes, and we do have heavy delays that are reported. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus. We'll see you then.
You're streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We've got to check your morning commute as well as your Tuesday forecast coming up in just a moment. But first, we start with some developing news out of Mecklenburg County, where we are learning a Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office employee is out of a job after she allegedly stabbed a coworker at work. Deputies say Lakeisha Easter pulled out a gun and knife and stabbed another employee several times inside the arrest processing center. The victim was seriously hurt but will survive. Easter was fired that same day. She's now in custody this morning and charges are expected. In South Carolina, a 7-year-old girl fighting for her life this morning after she was hit in a drive-by shooting.
WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard has a message from Pageland Police this morning as the family searches for justice.
All right, we'll get that fixed and get right back to you. But first, let's get to your golfing forecast. 8 a.m., so just 30 minutes from now. Temperature is going to be pretty much where they are right now, maybe 2 degrees warmer, right around the mid-60s. And then the upper 70s by about 11, 2 p.m. at around the 82 degree point in the mid 80s by the end of the afternoon. At most, you just have some of those upper level clouds, a calm wind turning out of the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's going to be a great day. If you have a tea time, I'm jealous. Invite me with you. No, I have too much to do today. I can't, but maybe tomorrow. We are looking at a much cloudier forecast by tomorrow, though. At that point, we are anticipating more clouds to start to roll into the area as our next wet weather system is going to be on the horizon. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Right now, looking at some of our fine places that we live, check out Lylesville. I want to show you this camera because I really think that this is the way it's going to look for most of the day today. Mostly clear sky, just like yesterday, just dealing with a little bit of that atmospheric haze. And that's also why I've deemed today our pick of the week. And it's because it's still comfortable. Compared to yesterday, we are 5 degrees warmer, so that will make it feel a little bit stickier regardless. But I really like the direction that we're going just in general. So get outside and enjoy it, because after this, we're going to see a big time change about how we feel. Check out our dew point graph. So the higher the dew point, the more uncomfortable we're going to feel. We, as early as tomorrow morning, are going to start to feel that sticky air, pretty humid by tomorrow morning. And then it really starts to jump to that air you can wear status by the weekend on and off. So that's why you got to take advantage of the great weather while we have it. And it was an easy choice for me because we're going to see really a wild card player in the forecast. This was still mentioned yesterday, but there was no percentage that the National Hurricane Center was giving this low. This low hasn't even truly formed. It's a little bit of circulation that's right here. So that eventually is going to scrape across Florida. And then in the warm waters right off the Carolinas, we'll try to develop into our first tropical depression. I don't think it has enough time. There's also some dry dust that's working into it. So there's a lot of things that are preventing this from becoming Tropical Storm Andrea. But hey, the impacts are still going to be there. It's still going to be cloudy and a little bit wetter. So let's start right around midnight to 3 a.m. At this point, I think you could have some light rain starting to work in. Any sort of widespread outer band rain will usually have some breaks in between it. But if you do get this thing to, say, make landfall without a name or a name regardless, you're going to see more cloud cover and a pretty persistent rain shower. And then especially the further east that you go, that's where I think you could have some heavier pulses. Rain will last a little bit longer. That's where we're going to have some of the higher rain totals. That's primarily right around the Albemarle area down to Rockingham. Right now, Charlotte is kind of in line to anywhere from a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch for the maximum, but could see barely anything at all. Yesterday, we were seeing 0 as far as rain in the morning. Now today, we're seeing a little bit higher values. I think by tomorrow morning, we're going to have a much better picture if it's going to be scenario 1, as I just showed you, or closer yet, and better yet, scenario 2. And this one's actually becoming a little bit more realistic for at least our southeastern zones. I think some areas from Wadesboro east could have up to 1 inch of rain. And you're even seeing signs, look at Fayetteville, up to 3 inches of rain. So if we get those conveyor belts, that one heavy rain shower after another, that is going to lead to some localized flooding. So this is a developing situation. Oftentimes a tropical system will kind of have a mind of its own, and it will quickly change up the forecast. That's why compared to yesterday I had the mid mid 80s. I actually moved this down to around 80 degrees for today because the amount of clouds I think we're going to see with this system is pretty wide. And then we're right back up to 90 degrees on Friday heading into Saturday, seeing some isolated to scattered thunderstorms to end each day, Saturday, Sunday heading into Monday. So truly, we're flipping on the switch to that summertime pattern that it's hot, humid, with a chance for storms to pop up some point in the afternoon, in the evening. Majestic, we're excited about today, at least, to get outside.
Yeah, we are definitely. And as you're driving around, make sure you're keeping a mindful eye out for people on their bikes, walking, or maybe even rollerblading, or on those scooters. I know a lot of people like to go out and about, especially when it's picture perfect, gorgeous weather. Let's get to our traffic update because we're still following this accident very carefully for you. It's the outer loop of I-485 right past University City Boulevard. Now, the crash was recently blocking the center lanes, but it's now off to the sides, but you can still see that heavy delay. I tracked that for you, and it's really about 6-mile delay. So you might want to grab some breakfast. If you are heading that way, bring it with you because you're going to be sitting for a little while. We do have another crash here on Independence and Norland Road. You can see some colors here indicating medium to stop and go traffic. So just allow for a little extra drive time if you're taking Independence inbound, which is kind of also typical with such a busy commute. We're seeing a live look outside now, I-77. I'm noticing all the gorgeous sunny skies. Grab those sunglasses, take it easy. We'll have another check on those drive times coming up in just a few minutes. Lisa.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. Happening today, Mecklenburg County Commissioners are set to take a final vote on a $2.5 billion budget. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Riches joins us in the studio this morning with a closer look at what this budget means. We're talking about property taxes, school funding, and especially important for some local nonprofits, Destiny.
Yeah, that's right. Nonprofits that serve some of Mecklenburg County's most vulnerable residents are bracing for major cuts as commissioners prepare to take a final vote on that county budget. The final budget proposal advanced in a unanimous straw vote last week and includes a 96-cent property tax increase, adding about $36 a year for the average homeowner. It also fully funds Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools with a $20 million boost to teacher pay. But outside of education, nearly every department faces reductions. And nonprofit funding takes one of the biggest hits. More than $6 million in cuts are proposed, including the near total elimination of community service grants. Many groups have spoken out about how the loss of funding would be devastating, including Crisis Assistance Ministry, an organization that helps people find affordable housing.
We do get funds from various levels of government, including the county and the city. And then we also get private sources across the board. Giving has become really uncertain from all of those sources because the economics are uncertain right now. And so people are trying to make careful choices. But the other side of that means that there are a lot more people who also have needs that need to be met in order for them to maintain basics like a place to live.
Some amendments were made during last week's straw vote, including partial funding for Crisis Assistance Ministry, but many nonprofits are still facing those major cuts. County leaders say the cuts are necessary to close a $29 million deficit caused by slowing sales tax growth. Now, tonight's vote will finalize the budget for the new fiscal year starting on July 1st. And if any last-minute amendments are introduced, they'll need majority support to pass. Lisa.
And Destiny, we know that those nonprofits really rely on that funding to help them. Are the leaders saying anything about the financial outlook moving forward?
Yeah, so County Manager Dina Diorio, she echoed that message of uncertainty. She says they aren't expecting any significant increase in sales tax revenue through at least fiscal year 2027. And with construction slowing down, growth in the property tax base will also be limited. And then on top of that, she warned about potential cuts at the federal level that could trickle down to the state and then impact local funding. And it's one of the reasons why the county is making tough choices right now with those cuts. But again, nonprofit leaders worry the immediate impact will fall hardest on those who need help the most.
The people and the organizations definitely all need some help. All right, thanks so much, Destiny. Also happening tonight, the city of Gastonia is set to vote on its $332 million budget, impacting everything from water bills to police response times. Now, this plan doesn't raise property taxes, but it does include utility rate hikes, employee raises, and public safety upgrades.
In Washington, the Senate expected to convene this morning to debate President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It comes as North Carolina Democrats are urging Senator Thom Tillis to vote against it. Demonstrators outside his Charlotte office yesterday protesting. Among many measures, the bill includes cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. It also extends tax cuts, which Democrats say would benefit the wealthy. On our live Impact News streaming on WCNC Plus, anchor Vanessa Rufus spoke with both parties.
This is the billionaire's favorite package, and the cost of that is falling on the backs of everyday North Carolinians. This bill proposes to cut Medicaid, in which 3 million North Carolinians depend on. That's almost a quarter of our state. And even if you aren't on Medicaid, you're impacted by Medicaid cuts, because if people do not have health insurance and people cannot go to the doctor and cannot make those payments are passed on to everybody else.
What's happening is not necessarily cuts to Medicaid. It's restoring the program to what it needs to be, which is for people. It's not for able-bodied people to have the program without work requirements. I think what you're seeing implemented with this bill are common sense measures that preserve it and especially help the working families of our country.
You can find the entire discussion and even more coverage over right here on WCNC Plus. Today's Senate debate comes as President Trump presses forward with other controversial economic policies.
Now the White House says the president will meet with China's president this week. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington this morning.
Tariff talks back in the spotlight this morning, with reigniting tensions between the U.S. and China, threatening to derail trade negotiations, each side accusing the other of violating terms that led them to temporarily scale back steep tariffs. Administration officials have said President Trump and China's leader have to directly engage to get back on track.
I can confirm that the two leaders will likely talk this week.
That as higher steel and aluminum tariffs the president doubled to 50% are set to take effect tomorrow,
which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States.
The European Union says it's preparing countermeasures. Small businesses watching the shifting picture warily.
American businesses are paying these tariffs. I just know that we have 9 people, and if we don't get some relief soon of these tariffs, we're going to have 3 people.
It all comes as the Senate this week takes up President Trump's massive budget bill,
with the goal of getting the final bill to the president before the 4th of July.
It already passed through the House, but several Republican senators have voiced concerns over the projected increase to the deficit from extending major tax cuts and increasing defense and immigration spending, arguing there aren't enough spending cuts.
I would be very surprised if the bill at least is not modified in a good direction.
Even as protesters rallied against what the bill does slash to Medicaid and food assistance programs. With that July 4th deadline in mind to fully pass the big budget bill, House Speaker Mike Johnson is urging Senate Republicans to make as few changes as possible, because any adjustments will then need to be kicked back over to the House for approval. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Over when we're live on WCNC, oftentimes once per half hour we'll do one thing, and the one thing is actually 3 words today. It's warmer, hazy, and sunny today. Yesterday, they were pretty much the same words. The only difference was I put the word dry instead of warmer, because we were technically 2 degrees cooler than where we were on Sunday. And our futurecast smoke is still showing the reason why we're hazy out there. Now, the atmosphere is all interconnected, especially with the jet stream as it dips up to the north and drops down to the south. And that's where we've been dealing with some of the atmospheric smoke that's still locked up there. And as long as that's going to be above our heads, we're going to allow for a little bit of haze. Not really affecting us, still plenty of sunshine reaching the surface, but it technically does affect us, because some of that smoke, the particles, can work their way down towards the surface. And if it's really hot, it can actually lead to the creation of some ground level ozone, which isn't a great breath of air. But where you're a little bit closer to the fires in Canada, we actually have some orange and red dots, which is representing unhealthy for sensitive groups and unhealthy air. We don't have that here, but across Minnesota, Wisconsin, over into the UP of Michigan, yeah, they're under code orange, borderline even code red for the air quality. For us, this is the way it's going to look pretty much all day long. Our Louisville camera looking picture perfect wherever you go. And Curses. All right, our beach camera was looking great right at Buckeye Lake, but then that just dropped off on me. So let me walk over here and get you a better camera that's going on here. Sorry, foiled again. But you are looking at a pretty great sky here. Let's go over to Dallas. Dallas is always all reliable. But this is a really good example, literally in the bottom right there. See how it does look a little bit brownish? That's that atmospheric haze. That's the smoke that I'm indeed talking about. All right, so we talked about the smoke. Now let's talk about the dust, right? I was like, what's going on in the forecast? Well, now you have Saharan dust that's also joining us. That can sometimes settle down to the surface. But this is actually a good thing when you're talking about tropical development. Hurricanes don't like three things. 1, cooler waters. 2, making landfall because they don't have the waters. And 3, dry air and dust. And that's what this is. So oftentimes during June and July especially, all the dust from the Saharan desert literally gets picked up and travels across the Atlantic. Sometimes those plumes are heavier than others, and that's exactly what we see on Friday. Check this out. You can actually see the circulation here around the dust, and that's actually being dragged into our next wet weather system, which indeed could actually be our next named storm. Now, likely that's not going to come to fruition. This is a very low chance that we're going to have any sort of development associated with this. This is going to be a 10% chance that we have even a tropical depression 1 or tropical storm Andrea. I don't think it's enough time then that dust really does inhibit a lot of the growth, but it's right in this zone that you're going to have a low pressure system regardless. So as that pushes its way off towards the north, you are going to have that slight potential. But south of I-85, that's where I think you have the best chance for rain starting off on Thursday morning. This model is a little bit more aggressive than some of the others, but I do want to show it to you, especially down to the south and the east, right around Rockingham and Charlotte. We're seeing some much heavier bands of showers that are associated with this, and you can see that rotation that's associated with that low. Eventually, it's going to push its way back off towards the north, and then it's out of here. Our futurecast rainfall totals also showing upwards to about 1/10 of an inch, but I think it could be as much as 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch right around Charlotte, up to 1 inch plus closer to Charlotte. The atmospheric moisture is also going to be unforgiving, so that's why today is my pick of the week, because it feels the best. Yesterday I think felt a little bit better, but today is a little bit warmer, and that's also, as a consequence, going to ramp up our skeeter meter, because the hotter it is up to 90 degrees with the amount of moisture, the worse the mosquitoes are going to be. And the more humid it is, they love it because it actually makes lighter air. Lighter air allows them to fly easier and get to you. I know that's one of the worst things about the summertime. High temperatures, the peak for this week, 89 and 90 degrees on Friday and Saturday. That would be the first and second warmest day of 2025. The warmest we've been is 88 degrees. We hit that on April 5th. So those are going to be the warmest days. Those days are also feeling a whole lot more humid. So today, again, is my pick of the week, because after this we get cloudier on some days and summer has arrived. Now, if you love that summer air, then your picks of the week are on the way, but it does come with a storm chance, especially late day Saturday and Sunday. Majestic?
All right, good Tuesday morning, everyone. It is absolutely beautiful for our Tuesday morning. If you want to take a road trip today, it's going to be great to do that. Maybe you just want to drive up to the lake and have some lunch. It's going to be beautiful, really, from the start to the day to the end of our day. And you can see across the area roads, we aren't seeing anything too out of the ordinary. So here we go. I-77 there, York County cameras are looking fine. We do have a couple of accidents that I want to let you know about. This is still the biggest issue that's ongoing for your Tuesday morning commute. The outer loop at I-485, you can see all of that red there. There's an accident. It's right past University City Boulevard. It was blocking the center lanes, but right now the car is off to the shoulder. Good news there, but that backup is still ongoing. A lot of delays. I tracked that for you. We're seeing over 6 miles of delays, so allow for some extra drive time if you typically drive that way. Another one on Independence, starting to see a lot of congestion there at Norland Road and Independence. So yes, you will also have a longer morning commute if you're taking Independence towards the uptown area. Towards uptown, though, you can see I-77 both up and down it. Lots of red on my screen, but the trade-off is this. At least we have a gorgeous morning and it's not raining and storming quite yet. We'll have more on weather and traffic coming up.
It's time for our Tuesday morning tail wagger along with our friends over at Animal Care and Control. Last week at this time we featured this big guy by the name of Tiber. Tiber looking unhappy because he is still there. Maybe he'll find his forever home this week. Let's bring on today's tail wagger, a very happy-go-lucky Spyro. Spyro, believe it or not, is 9 years old, but you would never know it. He weighs somewhere from about 55 to 60 pounds. A playful guy, but really calm and very gentle, and a very happy dog. Knows commands. He's house trained, crate trained, put him on a leash, and he is a great dog. His name is Spyro. Available over at Animal Care and Control. They're open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can make an appointment by calling 704-336-7600. That's the number. One more time, take a look at this guy, lip smacking good. He weighs about 55 to 60 pounds. Doesn't act 9 years old, but his name is Spyro, and he is our very special Tuesday morning tail wagger.
Thanks, Larry. Charlotte food pantries are seeking solutions this morning to growing food insecurity across our community.
WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden has a look at one pantry that's collecting food that would otherwise go to waste.
We visited 3 food pantries across the city of Charlotte and heard the same thing. The need is greater than ever before. But at Feeding Charlotte, they're creating unique partnerships helping people across our community.
There is a lot of work to be done to feed the hungry in Charlotte.
Anywhere and everywhere, there's need.
Rich Armenia runs Feeding Charlotte, a hunger relief organization that rescues extra food that would otherwise go to waste and gets it to people in need.
I've heard it described as the dumbest problem that we face in the United States. So it really takes an organization like Feeding Charlotte to act as kind of the conduit in between where food is wasted and where it's needed.
We're talking Bank of America Stadium, Sam's Club, Atrium hospitals, mom and pop restaurants. Volunteers drive their own cars, pay for their own fuel to collect the food from these places and deliver it to people in need.
Last year was our biggest year by far. We actually grew by 570% last year, impact-wise.
Feeding Charlotte works with 208 donor organizations, and they deliver to 83 groups. Everything from homeless outreach programs to senior living facilities, summer camps, and after-school programs.
I receive food from Feeding Charlotte. I prepare the food, and then I serve it within the community.
Betty Alexander is one of the people who makes weekly food drops.
And once I got connected with Feeding Charlotte, it was just so much food coming in to where we could just go out and serve, many people. So that's what we do. It just feels good because, nobody's going hungry.
In fact, there are more than 100,000 people who are food insecure in Mecklenburg County alone. The work Feeding Charlotte is doing is imperative, helping organizations like Hearts and Hands Food Pantry that just lost federal funding that they relied on.
We were a major recipient of the local foods purchasing agreement through the USDA through a partnership with our food hub here in Charlotte named Fresh List. So we were part of that program since 2021, and those produce costs were completely covered for us as an organization. It's very expensive to procure, and so the rug got pulled with that funding getting cut, and now we were in a situation where it's like, we have to cover all of this.
But they can't.
Well, the first thing that we had to do was, we have to decrease amounts of food that we're able to give people.
Feeding Charlotte used to deliver an average of 50,000 meals a year. This year, they expect that number to be a whopping 400,000 meals. It's a good news, bad news situation. They have more partners and more people helping, but also more mouths to feed. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
7:53 right now on WCNC Plus. Check this out. Over the weekend, hundreds gathered in Wisconsin in the woods for an unusual festival to celebrate all things sirens. From vintage alert systems to modern day emergency tech, it's called Siren Con, the loudest convention you've probably never heard of. The event celebrated its 6th year with enthusiasts from 30 states, 5 different countries, all coming to take part in things siren related. The setup looks like a music festival with camping, chair lines, but here the performers are the sirens.
Well, some people like to collect old cars. Some people are really into gas and steam shows. We just happen to like tornado sirens.
Okay.
Interesting. Unique.
Right.
Unique to say the least.
Yes, thank you. Unique. Organizers say the convention has grown from just 19 people the first year. Now, some people think it's funny. 600 people coming out to take part.
That sounds like a headache where you need to take, ibuprofen or something before you even get there and get your earplugs ready to go.
It looked like they had some
Why?
ear stuff on to protect.
There's something for everyone.
There
is something for everyone.
Imagine that, because some of it looked like there were some kids there. All of a sudden, it's like, man, I'm really into sirens.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Only right here on WCNC.
I'm glad it's growing.
That's right. That's right.
I can't believe it's growing.
To each their own.
We should go next year.
Let's take a quick break. Live picture. No sirens here. Instead, coming up in just about a minute, we're going to have a check your forecast and traffic, and then we're back with the headlines at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus.
The record today, 100. We're never near that. This just was a cool number. You don't usually see the triple digits yet. 85 degrees is where we're going to head today, and then 84 is where we should be. So we're pretty much spot on for the average. And this is the bottom line. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. We do have a little bit of atmospheric haze, just as we had yesterday, reaching our peak temperature right during the 5 o'clock hour. And then after that, really a pleasant evening going forward. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. We have some big time changes starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, likely we're staying dry. Maybe you have a sprinkle or two, but we see clouds increase and thicken up through the day. It will be an overcast, and that's going to allow for an overall overcast day on Thursday. I brought this high temperature way down because we are anticipating the effects of a tropical disturbance that's going to skirt by the Carolinas. That's going to allow for some rain, especially to the south and southeast of Charlotte. And then after that, we're right back up, feeling that summertime surge back to around 90 degrees with afternoon and evening thunderstorm chances Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Majestic, what's going on traffic-wise?
It is beautiful this morning on our Tuesday morning. Make sure you keep a careful eye out for everyone on bikes and motorcycles. It is going to be a gorgeous day to be out and about. One accident I want to let you know about is the outer loop of I-485 right past University Boulevard. We do have that crash that's off to the side, but heavy delays are ongoing. You can see it there. It's about a 6-mile backup. Take it easy.
You are streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson. The FBI offering a reward this morning as the search continues for a suspect in that Hickory mass shooting from over the weekend. 12 people shot, 1 person died after somebody opened fire at a pool party. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane back in Hickory for us this morning. And Richard, we should say that the investigation is actively ongoing. I know investigators are out there with you this morning still looking into this. And the thing is, they're not getting as much help as you would expect, considering the number of people who were at this pool party.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it, Ben. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. All our plussers out there. I want to wish you a good morning as well. Police say they've been talking to people, spoke to at least 70 folks so far who were either at this pool party or know something about what happened here, and they're not getting the information that's leading to an arrest. They're leaving no stone unturned. The last hour I was standing out in front of this sign, which had what appears to be a bullet hole in it. They roped off the area. They took it back and checked, and they say that bullet hole is not related to the incident that happened just up the street from where I'm standing now. But they say they continue to wait for somebody to give them information that will move toward people who did this meeting justice. Now, as we take a look at video, one of those things they've done is the FBI has offered that $15,000 reward that they hope will loosen someone's lips, so to speak. This is all about that shooting, which happened and spanned a large area near the house, inside and outdoors. And investigators say they believe there could be multiple shooters who were involved, all happening around 12:45 Sunday morning. Police responding to a residence right here off of Walnut Acres Drive, where approximately 100 people had gathered for that party, including the pool party. The gunfire opening of 80 rounds fire that they know about. 1 person dead, 11 others injured, and at least one of those folks still in critical conditions. The victims ranging in age from 16 to 58. But despite the best efforts and extensive searching by police, talking to witnesses, and a review of surveillance footage, so far no arrests have been made, and authorities have not identified any suspects as of yet. Both neighbors and residents hope that this reward will lead to information that will lead to arrests.
Sounded like someone had maybe thrown a firecracker into the front yard. So then I got up. Then all of a sudden there was more shooting.
There's certainly a lot of people that were at the event, and even more people that probably have some knowledge concerning this. Some people were often reluctant to become involved, and we have seen in our experience that a reward is a motivator.
Yeah, and hopefully the motivation that will lead to those folks responsible for the opening fire being brought to justice. Guys, send it back to you.
Richard, I've seen it reported that evidently the owner of the home was not there, leading a lot of people to surmise that this was being used at like a short-term rental, like an Airbnb. Any credence to that?
Yeah, we've confirmed that it's not being used as an Airbnb, but like I spoke to a number of residents here, they say they know who the owner is, but they very rarely see them at that residence. That's probably what sparked a lot of folks saying that they believe or speculating that it was an Airbnb, but we've confirmed that that's not the case. We do know the homeowner wasn't home at the time. Of course, as we get more information, more details separating fact from fiction, we'll make sure to present it to you guys.
All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there. Police need your help. Richard, thank you. All right, turning to your forecast right now with Chris. Chris, you are making the proclamation that this is the pick of the week.
On this day of Tuesday, June 3rd, we make the proclamation of proclamations that today is the pick of the week, high of 85 degrees. So why am I doing this? I don't just pick this at random. Yesterday, I think it was right there, 80 degrees, felt amazing. Today is just a little bit warmer for some of us, so great for the kids to go to a splash pad. Or if you got a pool, lucky you. It's just a much better feeling day today. So enjoy this proclamation. It's going to be a great day. We just got a little bit of haze off in the distance, but all in all, wall-to-wall sunshine type of scenario. 84 in Hickory and 76, a near perfect walk around Boone. We have a slight stickiness in the air. I'm talking about barely. Still feels amazing. 83 could feel like 84 by 3 p.m., but that's really no biggie. But then here's the deal. This is the only day that you're in that comfortable zone. Outside of that, you have the lower to the mid 60s on Wednesday and Thursday, and all that means is they're feeling sticky to humid Once you're in the upper 60s to 70, it's borderline muggy to that air you can wear. So you're really going to notice a big difference about how it feels, especially by Friday heading through the weekend. And then we pretty much feel like that for 95% of all days going through the course of summer. It's actually really rare that we're going to be back to the way that today feels compared to as early as tomorrow. It already starts to feel sticky. So tomorrow morning when you're waking up, you're going to, oh, it's back. Here it is. Also, mosquitoes love this type of weather, and we don't love that. 85 degrees today, 86 for you in Chirac, and then 82 around North Wilkesboro. And then tonight, still a mild low, but one thing is going to change. I think we're going to see more clouds by the time the sun is rising up tomorrow morning, and our lows will also level out in the mid 60s this time. But notice the feels like it is actually a little bit warmer because of that mugginess as that sun is rising up tomorrow. What about our rainfall chances? It's a spotty chance for rain on Wednesday, but it becomes scattered on Thursday before we dry out. And then, hey, I'm just calling for scattered rain each and every day through this weekend heading into next week. The big change is this, guys. This tropical development is now in place per the National Hurricane Center. This could become our first tropical depression, even though the chances are very low. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit more in detail. There's a brand new update that just came out with this, so we'll talk about a little bit more about our first tropical development investigation of the year. But first, let's get over to my friend Majestic Storm. How you doing, my friend? You ready to enjoy today?
Absolutely. It is so beautiful. You know it's going to be a good day when you're waking up to a view like that. It is gorgeous outside. Now, we are definitely seeing some backups. This camera right here is frozen. It's not stopped traffic, but you can tell that there are a lot of people out on those roads just that time of the morning. In addition to that, though, we are still following this backup carefully. The outer loop of I-485, there was an accident that was actually in the center lanes. They have pushed that off to the side, so it's no longer blocking any roads, but still, we're seeing a lot of delays there. I tracked that for you, over 6 miles of delays, so allow for some extra time to get to where you need to be if you do take that way. Independence is also starting to pick up. We have 2 crashes. The first one is right here on Norland Road, but then just to the south of it, another ongoing one on Independence and Village Lake Drive. So slowdowns on Independence, and we're looking at up and down I-77. We have red. That means people are up and at 'em starting their day, but again, the trade-off is that it is absolutely beautiful outside. Quick peek at those drive times, about an hour if you're coming in from Waxhaw and trying to get to Charlotte. Take it easy, my friends.
Well, it's a big week for movie producers and directors here in the Carolinas wanting to show off their latest work. The Charlotte Black Film Festival kicks off Thursday at Airsley on South Tryon. Joining us this morning, the founder of the film festival, Tommy Nichols Sr. Tommy, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
This year, I know a big milestone, 15 annual Black Film Festival. Tell us more about the festival and its history.
Yeah, you know, the Charlotte Black Film, I moved here in 2009. The festival started in 2010 after I saw a presentation that determined that one of the great growth industries in the Charlotte region was going to be film. I saw that. And when I saw that, I wanted to know what was happening in that space for minorities. And as I looked online, I saw nothing. And so the Charlotte Black Film Festival was created to be an economic driver using film as its platform.
Using film as its platform, give us a preview of some of the sort of signature events that are going to be taking place between the 5th and the 8th.
Yes, we have a lot going on. We start our event, since we're in Arsley, we wanted to be an economic driver in Arsley. So everything that we're doing, supporting local businesses there, the theater, the hotels that are there. And we start off at Piedmont Social Club. Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. was our opening night welcome. And then we start Friday morning very early with a career panel, broadcast TV and film panel of experts, and kind of a small little career fair for those interested in film, TV, or broadcast. And then we go into a full day of films. We have a total of 100 films that will be shown in person and on our platform, our streaming platform that we have as well. And then we end Friday night with Jazz on the Patio at the Embassy Suite there, right there in Arsley, where we have Tiffany Blue singer coming out. And I think hopefully it's a great day for folks to come out and really enjoy the weather and enjoy the music. Saturday, we start back off with another panel from the National Association of Black Journalists, who's hosting that panel after the screening screening that they've done a documentary on the history of their organization. So we're screening that, and then there's a panel of your peers who will be there talking about the history of their organization. Once again, we go back into films. We have something called Pitch Me. You got an idea for a film, TV, reality show? This is the place. And Actors Idol. If you think you can act, not act up, but act, this is the place to be. And we end it with our signature Red Carpet Vision Awards, where we award the best in film, our sneaker ball, and we're going to celebrate and dance, and it's going to be a great time.
It strikes me that this is not only for folks in the film industry, but also important to say those aspiring to be. We're talking about writers or directors. How can they get involved?
Yeah, one of the things that we do year round, we do a monthly meetup, a bi-monthly meetup actually. And so it's called the Carolina Black Film Collective that they can be involved with. We also just gave out a microfilm grant to 20 filmmakers, a grant we got from the city of Charlotte. And we want to thank the city of Charlotte for being our sponsor this year. And so we did the grant. Then we did a PA boot camp for those inspiring people who really want to be in the industry. Where do you start? And the best way is to be a production assistant. And so we did that in partnership with the Charlotte Film Commission, and a great 2-day boot camp brought in folks from LA. So connecting with us, aspiring folks, no matter who you are, what your race is, what your age is, we do casting events for folks who want to be part of the film community. So we kind of do A through Z in supporting the whole ecosystem of film here in Charlotte.
And let's talk about the importance of black films and the festival's role in helping create a space for some of these filmmakers.
Yeah, we've been around 15 years, which is, when you look in Charlotte, there's not a lot of minority African-American based organizations that have sustained themselves through that, and that went through a lot of pain. So we think it's very important that everyone's voice is heard. And I think the more that we can speak out about who we are through these storytellings, maybe folks will understand some of our things that happens in our community. I think, and also understand our experiences and take the ride with us. I think film is a safe place, right, for anybody, no matter who you are, to come out and enjoy this particular content. So creating this platform, especially in the year of, it seems that many things, minorities, DEI, and those things are being cut, we still represent that platform where voices can be heard, stories can be told.
And that's so important. All right, Tommy Nichols Sr. Tommy, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Best of luck with the big event, now in its 15th year.
15th year. And if anybody wants information, go to charlotteblackfilmfestival.com for ticket information, events, and films.
Perfect. All right, Tommy, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Again, it's going to be this week, June 5th through the 8th, over at Airsley. Just check out the link in the WCNC mobile app. 8:12 right now on WCNC Plus. Breaking just into the newsroom, we're learning a 2-year-old now recovering after they were shot inside a North Charlotte apartment. Take a look at your screen, the map here. We know it happened late Sunday morning on Paces Oaks Boulevard in Northeast Charlotte. This is just off W.T. Harris Boulevard. This is in the university area, just a few blocks down from UNC Charlotte. Police say the child has serious injuries but is expected to be okay. We're working to find out if there are any charges in the case, but we do know this involved an unsecured gun. Teachers and parents sending a strong message to the district this morning, the district being CMS. They're concerned over the unexplained suspension and sudden retirement of Ardrey Kell principal Jamie Brooks. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard spoke with those involved in the demonstration.
From protests outside of school to a wave of teacher absences, the call for transparency among CMS district leaders is becoming impossible to ignore. Behind closed doors, Ardrey Kell High School teachers are gathering, not for lesson plans or end-of-year wrap-ups, but to organize, to speak, and to fight for the truth. But many here are still afraid to go on camera in fear of retaliation.
I am friends personally with several teachers, and I understand completely their reluctance to go on camera because they don't want to suffer any consequences. This is not just a job for them. This is their passion.
But many feel that passion is being overshadowed by silence from district leaders. So some teachers are protesting, with the school also confirming call-outs on Monday.
I think we need to make ourselves heard. They are trying to be heard. We still not hear from CMS about what is going on.
Audrey Kell staff says they did bring in enough substitute teachers to cover open slots, but some parents say it's not enough. They say the impact this has on students and the school's community is very real.
Timing of this left the school in chaos at a time when students are trying to complete finals. It's been very upsetting for parents, for students, and for staff.
The last day of school is June 10th. But for many here at Audrey Kell, this fight goes beyond the final bell. That's why they're coming together, unified and determined, ahead of the next CMS meeting to demand transparency they've waited for weeks.
Dr. Hill, not so long ago, promised us all improved transparency.
We need partnership from the CMS board and the superintendent.
That school board meeting is set for Thursday at 6 p.m. Of course, we'll be there and be sure to bring you the latest updates. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Tradisha Woodard.
Today's the last day for members of Charlotte's police union to cast their vote of no confidence against CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings. It comes after reports of a secret settlement between the city and the chief tied to a dispute involving former council member Tark Hickory. While the vote won't decide Jennings' future, it does send a strong message. The chief's already announced that he plans to retire early next year. Charlotte City Council passing an informal vote on the $3.6 billion budget. However, the proposal hitting a few bumps, sales tax revenue lower than expected, and there are more funding requests than the city can afford. Some council members say this needs a larger conversation, like looking at new ways to use the tourism tax. They're also talking about cutting unfilled jobs and increasing city fees. Per month, that would come down to an increase of about $1.35 for solid waste removal, $5.47 for water, and 67 cents for storm water. The final vote scheduled for next Monday. In South Carolina, the governor's office says nearly 100 people have been detained in a targeted immigration operation. Authorities responded to a noise complaint against an allegedly unlicensed nightclub, leading them to what officials call a cartel after party. This evidently in North Charleston. Law enforcement arrested 80 people who were allegedly in the country illegally, including members of cartels, gangs, and an international murder suspect. 10 minors also found inside the nightclub. Looking ahead, if you plan to travel through South Carolina tomorrow, don't be shocked at an increase in highway patrol. That is because state officials are practicing their annual hurricane evacuation exercise. The drill makes sure state agencies know what to do if a big hurricane hits. So they're going to test evacuation routes like I-26, US 501, SC 544, but it should not impact regular everyday traffic. And folks, tomorrow you do not want to miss our Hurricane IQ, a WCNC weather impact special. Our team is going to walk you through the hurricane predictions for this year. Take a look back at the devastation from Helene and explain the science behind hurricanes. Be prepared this hurricane season. Catch Hurricane IQ 8 p.m. tomorrow on WCNC Charlotte or streaming right here on WCNC Plus.
You know, I'm super excited about it, not just because I'm a part of it, but I really love what our team did there. So, of course, we have our Weather IQ YouTube channel. We've pretty much taken every aspect of that we've talked about hurricanes and combined it into 1 hour of a Hurricane IQ. So I think it's going to be super awesome for you. Maybe if you don't know much at all or you know a lot, you're going to learn something guaranteed. Our tropical development has also changed since what I was talking about earlier. Now, not much, really just moved up a day. Per our most recent 8 o'clock update, now we have a 10% chance for development in the next 2 days. All that really does is move up that 2 to 7 day time frame up within the next couple of days that we are tracking this low to bloop, move right up to the Carolina coastline. So regardless, if this somehow exceeds expectations and turns into Tropical Depression 1 or Tropical Storm Andrea, which does not look likely, it's still going to be a low pressure system that increases the cloud cover and brings us some rain. Tuesday, today, my pick of the week. It was an easy choice because of the sunshine. Now, the cloud cover, I think, takes over by at least your Wednesday afternoon, and I've officially kicked our highs down to the upper 70s on Thursday because of the chance of that rain-cooled air. It's also going to feel a whole lot more humid by the back end of the forecast, feeling humid Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's pretty much going to be the norm through the weekend heading into next week, where it's June. We expect really humid days here in the Carolinas. Here are the changes you can expect from that approaching low-pressure system. Number one, we'll have a chance for a few sprinkles tomorrow. Clouds take over. It's overcast by the end of the day. 2, here comes the rain. I think it's south of I-85. You're going to have a chance for at least a light rain shower through the early morning hours. As the sun is rising up, it's especially heavy right down here, and you can see the circulation that's happening with this system. One of two things is going to happen. Either one, it stays a little bit further off the shoreline, so it's really just rain from Albemarle to Lancaster over to Charlotte. I think those areas are going to see rain regardless and less to the north. Or 2, this pushes it a little bit further off towards the west, so you are seeing a little bit more rain west of I-77. But right now, in general, it's east of I-77, southeast of I-85 that we're going to see most of the rain with this system. There's already a low chance for flash flooding starting around Florence, South Carolina, up to Fayetteville by the time you get to your Thursday. And the reason why is because the projected rain totals. Now, the highest ones I've seen, that's this one right here, showing about an inch around Southern Pines, an inch in Charlotte. But if you get 3 to 5 inches throughout the course of the day, you are anticipating some flash flooding, and luckily a lot of this rain is going to impact some of our coastal areas that are still under either a moderate to a severe drought, so there's the good news there. But if you get it all at once, it could lead to some flash flooding, so I want people to be advised. Our rainfall chances after that, I think you're dry on Friday, but then we're really starting to see more of a scattered environment heading into the weekend. It's a lot more humid. This is that typical summertime pattern. How many times do you see on our 7-day? It's going to be 90 degrees, hot, very humid, with a chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm to end the afternoon and head into the evening. That's what we got. We're back to that summertime pattern that sometimes is a little bit more than others. When you have a front that's nearby, yeah, that's going to up your chance. And that's exactly what we have for your Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then eventually heading into next week, it's a little bit cooler. It's also going to be our first shot at 90. I have 90 degrees for our projected high on Saturday. However, we haven't been able to hit this mark. We've actually forecasted 90 multiple times, we'll be honest with you, but then it's either 88 or 87 degrees. So there's going to be a chance that we miss this yet again. Last year, we kept on doing the same thing. We didn't hit our first 90-degree temperature until June 13th, and the year before that, it was June 3rd, so we're already past that point. May 20th is the typical average. Obviously, we're not doing that this year, but regardless, I still think Friday and Saturday will be one of the hottest days that we've had so far this year. It's much easier to hit 90 degrees in June anyways, but surprising that April 5th was the hottest temperature that we've had so far this year. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast today was my pick of the week because it's the only icon that is just nothing but sunshine. And then temperatures a little bit cooler on Thursday, right back to 90 degrees on Saturday. And then I think really weeks beyond this, expect a lot more of those 90s to become more of a regular here on our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Chance for storms on Sunday could affect the Charlotte Ascent game, so just keep that in mind if you're going to that. We'll keep these pop-up shower and thunderstorm chances around for the beginning of next week as well. Majestic, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. It is getting busy across those area roadways, though. It is going to be one of those days where you head outside, it is gorgeous, you grab your sunglasses, roll down the windows. Let's break down a few of our watch spots, though, because this one has been ongoing for a while. It's the outer loop of I-485 right past University City Boulevard. You can see all of that red. Now, the crash was in the center lane, but they have pushed it to the side, still seeing that 6-mile backup, though. Another crash that just popped up. It's on W.T. Harris Boulevard at Chancellor Park Drive. See that red there? That means just everyone's moving very slowly around it. Independence is starting to get jam-packed this morning with a couple of ongoing accidents. This one here at Norland Road, you can see those inbound lanes will be impacted there, and another one just to the south. A lot of green, so not seeing anything too concerning at that point, but it's also on Independence. This one just actually disappeared, so that's some good news for us. We'll move forward. You can see right around the uptown area, I-77, both northbound and southbound lanes are definitely backed up. It is just another busy start to your day. Here's a live look outside at I-77. We're going to take a better look at what's going on here, as it seems like there could be another accident or a big slowdown here. We'll have more on that coming up.
Thanks. 8:23 right now on WCNC Plus. And this morning, North Carolina's new DMV commissioner promising shorter wait times and fewer headaches. Paul Tyne, now a month into the job, he says he's working on 85 different DMV projects, a lot of them aimed at combating delays. Roughly 80 new driver's license examiners are undergoing training. After they're done, they're going to join offices statewide to increase services. The governor spoke in Raleigh just last week, calling on the General Assembly to boost investment into the department.
People shouldn't have to line up for hours at the DMV or take days off work or use their vacation time in order to get their driver's license or whatever other business they need. Our DMV employees need better working conditions and more support so they can more effectively provide high-quality service to all North Carolinians.
Commissioner Tyne says the DMV also recently revamped its website, including removing the wait time tracker, which sounds like a good idea, but customers often said it misled them into thinking their wait time was 30 minutes or less and ended up waiting hours. 8:25 right now. We're ready to take a quick break. Coming up in just about a minute, another check of your weather impact forecast. Chris says humidity is on its way. And Majestic has a look at your Tuesday morning commute. That's coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good day, everybody. High of 85 degrees, 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. Not too bad. We have a little extra moisture in the air, but it's still comfortable, especially compared to where we are going. Enjoy the sunshine all day long. What you're seeing off in the distance here in Monroe, that's pretty much what we have for the course of your Tuesday. Tuesday also separates itself from all the other days because the peak dew point, anything over 60 is humid. 65 plus is very humid. 70, air you can wear. We have a lot more of that moisture going forward, and that's also going to lead to more shower and pop-up thunderstorm chances, especially Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. But Thursday, interesting setup as we have a developing low pressure system. It's trying to become something tropical, but regardless, that's going to cloud things up and bring us some rain on Thursday. So Thursday now turning into the coolest day of the week, because we're lacking that sunshine, but then after that, mix of cloud and sunshine, feeling like summer with the summertime pattern for the weekend. Now we head over to Majestic for our morning commute. What's going on, my friend?
All right, good morning, everyone. It is beautiful outside, isn't it? It's going to be a nice start to your Tuesday morning, but boy, those roads are definitely getting busy. I want to take you to I-77 southbound lanes. Look at all this red right here. We have a lot of congestion that is building. It's out there towards Atondo Ave there. You can see there is a lot of cars there, but there is no accident. One that we are watching here, it's been ongoing for a while. It's at I-485, the outer loop there. Heavy delays, about 6 miles of delays there. So just make sure you're taking it easy and allow for a little bit of extra drive time to get you to where you need to be this morning.
Streaming live at 8:30 right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson. We start with some developing news out of here in Mecklenburg County, where we're learning an employee at the sheriff's office is out of a job after she's allegedly stabbed a coworker there at work. Deputies say Lakeisha Easter pulled out a knife and stabbed another employee repeatedly inside the arrest processing center. The victim was seriously hurt but will survive. Easter was fired that same day. She's in custody this morning and charges are expected. In South Carolina, a 7-year-old girl fighting for her life this morning after she was hit in a drive-by shooting. WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood has a message from Pageland Police this morning as the family searches for justice.
The small town of Pageland shaken by a shooting that has a 7-year-old fighting for her life.
It's terrible, really terrible. It's just too much violence.
Families say Skylar Baker was home sleeping when a shooter opened fire on their Brewer Circle home around 1:30 Sunday morning.
Whoever did it needs to be accountable. And the people who know who did it, shame on you if you don't come forward. I don't care about a street code.
Councilman Ethan Ford represents the area and says something needs to change after just last year another child lost his life to gun violence.
We currently have a 13-year-old named Jacob that was killed during a parent drive-by and still unsolved. Now we have a 7-year-old innocent little girl who I'm told was shot through the wall of the house while she was sleeping in the bed. And it's ridiculous.
Police say Jacob's case is being investigated by the sheriff's office, and they don't believe the two are connected. Still, they're calling on the community to help as the search for suspects continues.
And we're reaching out to the public, try to help us get this solved so we can bring some closure to this family and get some justice for this little girl.
That was Kaylin Hagwood reporting. Tomorrow, the community is planning to gather for a prayer at Moores Park in Pageland. That's happening at 7 p.m. 8:32 right now on WCNC Plus. Let's get a check of the forecast with Chris.
All right, thanks a lot. We're going to start in reverse. You have the temperatures in the mid-80s today, and notice how one day stands out from all the rest. Yep, today is the only one that has wall-to-wall sunshine, because outside of that, you have mostly cloudy skies. Then cloudy skies with the chance for rain on Thursday. And then beyond that, we have scattered showers and thunderstorms. There'll be a possibility heading into the afternoons and really the evening hours on Saturday, Sunday, heading into Monday. So really just kind of keep that in mind going forward. As far as our forecast today, it's picture perfect. I think it's going to feel great. Yesterday, I think it was a little bit drier as far as the amount of moisture in the air, but we're still in that nice comfort zone. We at most might feel like 83 is 84 during the afternoon. We're splitting hairs here. And we have a little bit of the atmospheric smoke as well. So a little bit of that haze off into the distance. We had it yesterday. We had it the day before. Not really a big effect whatsoever. And then those dew points are jumping into the humid range really Wednesday and beyond. So our humidity meter today, as long as we're around 55 to 57, you're feeling okay. That's bearable. That's pleasant. It's by tomorrow morning, you're going to notice a big difference. So likely a lot of you say if you get up when we do, well before the sun rises up, walking to work, and it's like, oh, feels a little sticky today. And it will be. So that's why today is standing out as my pick of the week, just because it stands out from all the rest, better than all the rest, even, as Tina would say. We have 85 degrees for a high right around Charlotte, 84 in Hickory, 84 in Statesville, and then 85 over in Morganton. Morganton is part of what's called the isothermal belt, so usually it's just as warm as the Charlotte area. And then overnight tonight, temperatures dropping down to the lower to the mid-60s. Should be about a couple degrees warmer than what we have or had earlier this morning, and then the mid-50s up in the mountains. Now, our rainfall chances really start to jump and jive heading into your Thursday. This is something that we're watching pretty closely, because those scattered rain showers, I think, could take over our forecast, especially south of I-85 on Thursday. It just depends on how far west that low pressure system is going to trend. And the low pressure system I'm talking about is this guy. Yeah, you're going to see a lot more of these maps when they turn red. That means impending tropical depressions or even tropical storms. This one has very little time. So that's why whenever the next 7 days matches the next two, means it's now a 48-hour window for this guy or this gal gal to form. And it looks like the biggest inhibitor that's going to happen with this is going to be some drier air that'll start to work its way into the system. That's really going to slow this down in general. So today, 85 with sunshine. Clouds first increase on your Wednesday, and then Thursday, that's going to be a much cooler day as well. And then also the mugginess is just taking over. So we're going to be using words like humid and cloudy to end the week, which isn't great. Let's get right to our futurecast. Here's how we get there. Today, sunshine. Don't worry about it. I already bypassed Tuesday because of that reason. There's a slight chance for a few sprinkles here and there, but the big thing about tomorrow is the clouds will eventually take over. So I think you have a mixed cloud and sunshine in the morning, turning mostly cloudy, and then it's overcast by your Thursday early morning. That's where the rain arrives. Some of us are going to have rain for several hours. Some of you, especially the further north you go, barely have anything at all. But especially from Lancaster over to Rockingham, this zone right here, it depends where you're going to be. And we're looking at hours of rain in some locations. So I think we will have a flash flooding concern really well east of us and well east of our viewing area. But this is a big change in the forecast, and that's one thing to really note. Any of these tropical systems that kind of develop on their own, always going to change that long range forecast. So Thursday is the coolest for now because it has the least amount of sunshine, but then after that, feeling like summer. Summertime surge, officially doing what June usually does, especially on the back end, right around 90 degrees, feeling hot and humid with a chance for showers and storms, especially after 2-3 o'clock on Saturday, Sunday, and again on Monday. All right, that's your weather report. Now let's head over to Majestic Storm with what's going on this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Traffic is definitely starting to pick up. We have a lot of delays that are ongoing. If you're coming in from Waxhaw to Charlotte, it's going to take you about 1 hour to get you there. Let's break down a few of our most important accidents because we have a lot that's ongoing right now. I-77 southbound near the Brookshire Freeway at exit 11. Toll lanes are delayed right now because of an accident that's causing those slowdowns. So again, here's a live look of that ongoing accident. The toll lanes being impacted by that, so do be mindful. That is the current situation there. In addition to that, I-45, the outer lanes, you see all that red? Earlier there was an accident. They have cleared it, but there's still a lot of backups there. 6 miles of backup, so make sure you just maybe allow about 10 minutes if you have to typically drive that way. You'll want to put that into your drive time. Another one here on W.T. Harris Boulevard. We have that's bringing those backups at Chancellor Park Drive, and Independence is getting busy. There's a crash on Eastway Drive at Pinecrest and another one on Independence at Norland Drive. Take it easy out there.
Majestic, thanks. 8:37 right now on WCNC Plus. Happening today, the Mecklenburg County Commission set to take a final vote on a $2.5 billion budget. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live here in studio on WCNC Plus with a closer look at what it means for your property taxes, school funding, and even local nonprofits. Destiny?
Yeah, nonprofits that serve some of Mecklenburg County's most vulnerable residents are bracing for major cuts as commissioners prepare to take a final vote on the county's, again, $2.5 billion budget. The final budget proposal advanced in a unanimous straw vote last week and includes a 96-cent property tax increase, adding about $36 a year for the average homeowner. It also fully funds Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools with a $28 million boost to teacher pay, but outside of education, nearly every department faces reductions, and nonprofit funding takes one of the biggest hits. More than $6 million in cuts are proposed, including the near total elimination of community service grants. Many groups have spoken out about how the loss of funding would be devastating, including Crisis Assistance Ministry, an organization that helps people find affordable housing.
We do get funds from various levels of government, including the county and the city. And then we also get private sources across the board. Giving has become really uncertain from all of those sources because the economics are uncertain right now. And so people are trying to make careful choices. But the other side of that means that there are a lot more people who also have needs that need to be met in order for them to maintain basics like a place to live.
Some amendments were made during last week's straw vote, including partial funding for Crisis Assistance Ministry, but many nonprofits are still facing those major cuts. County leaders say the cuts are necessary, though, to close a $29 million deficit caused by slowing sales tax growth. And tonight's vote will finalize the budget for the new fiscal year starting on July 1st. If any last-minute if there are any last-minute amendments, they'll be needing to get a full majority support to pass.
All right, so this year's budget aside, put that to the side for just a second. What are commissioners saying about the sort of financial outlook of the county going forward?
Yeah, so County Manager Dina Diorio, she kind of echoes that message of uncertainty on the county's end. She says they aren't expecting any significant increase in sales tax revenue through at least the next fiscal year 2027. And with construction slowing down, growth in the property tax base will also be limited. On top of that, she warned about potential cuts at the federal level that could trickle down to the state and then impact local funding. And that's one of the reasons the county is making those tough choices now. But again, nonprofit leaders worry the immediate impact will fall hardest on those who need help the most.
All right, Destiny, thank you for that. Also happening today, the city of Gastonia is set to vote on its $332 million budget, impacting everything from water bills to police response times. The plan doesn't raise property taxes, but it does include utility rate hikes, employee raises, and public safety upgrades. In Washington, the Senate expected to convene this morning to debate President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It comes as North Carolina Democrats are urging Senator Thom Tillis to vote against the plan. Demonstrators outside his Charlotte office yesterday protesting. Among many measures, the bill includes cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. It also extends tax cuts, which Democrats say really going to benefit the wealthy. On our live Impact News stream right here on WCNC Plus, anchor Vanessa Rufus spoke with both parties.
This is the billionaire's favorite package, and the cost of that is falling on the backs of everyday North Carolinians. This bill proposes to cut Medicaid, in which 3 million North Carolinians depend on. That's almost a quarter of our state. And even if you aren't on Medicaid, you're impacted by Medicaid cuts, because if people do not have health insurance and people cannot go to the doctor and cannot make those payments are passed on to everybody else.
What's happening is not necessarily cuts to Medicaid. It's restoring the program to what it needs to be, which is for people. It's not for able-bodied people to have the program without work requirements. I think what you're seeing implemented with this bill are common sense measures that preserve it and especially help the working families of our country.
Today's Senate debate comes as President Trump presses forward with other controversial economic policies. Now the White House says the president will meet with China's president this week. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Tariff talks back in the spotlight this morning with reigniting tensions between the U.S. and China, threatening to derail trade negotiations, each side accusing the other of violating terms that led them to temporarily scale back steep tariffs. Administration officials have said President Trump and China's leader have to directly engage to get back on track.
I can confirm that the two leaders will likely talk this week.
That as higher steel and aluminum tariffs the president doubled to 50% are set to take effect tomorrow,
which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States.
The European Union says it's preparing countermeasures. Small businesses watching the shifting picture warily.
American businesses are paying these tariffs. I just know that we have 9 people, and if we don't get some relief soon of these tariffs, we're going to have 3 people.
It all comes as the Senate this week takes up President Trump's massive budget bill,
with the goal of getting the final bill to the president before the 4th of July.
It already passed through the House, but several Republican senators have voiced concerns over the projected increase to the deficit from extending major tax cuts and increasing defense and immigration spending, arguing there aren't enough spending cuts.
I would be very surprised if the bill at least is not modified in a good direction.
Even as protesters rallied against what the bill does slash to Medicaid and food assistance programs. With that July 4th deadline in mind to fully pass the big budget bill, House Speaker Mike Johnson is urging Senate Republicans to make as few changes as possible, because any adjustments will then need to be kicked back over to the House for approval. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Wherever you look, it is a gorgeous day today, and 3 words for today: it's a warmer day, still a hazy one, but sunshine is still upon us. A beautiful Carolina blue still with us, even though they will be Carolina grayish at times because of that haze. That's because this atmospheric smoke, this all came from Canada, and now it's just stuck lofting in our atmosphere, and then actually it's going to cut off over the next couple of days, but then we'll replace smoke with dust. What? Well, I'll explain here in a second. So our air quality is at a yellow. That's moderate. That means even those who have respiratory illnesses are going to be A-OK today. But there are some areas in the country that are still under an active red. That's just unhealthy for all. And orange represents a code orange, or unhealthy for sensitive groups. That's most of Minnesota over to Wisconsin and up into the upper peninsula of Michigan because of that smoke that's in the atmosphere. Now here's the dust that I'm talking about. One of the biggest killers or inhibitors of hurricanes and tropical formation is dry air and dust. This is actually called the Saharan dust layer, so you can guess where it comes from. If you guessed Saharan Desert, good job, 1 point for you. But this works its way across the Atlantic via the trade winds, and sometimes can have enough strength to make it all the way to the Carolinas or the southeastern United States. And that's exactly what we have. And you can actually see the flow of this getting worked into that low pressure system. That's going to, I think, prevent it from really thriving and surviving. It's still a big bad low that's pretty wide. Just look at the size of this thing, and if you just kind of move that up, it's almost the size of the Carolinas. I know that's the most imprecise way of doing things, but hey, it still works. But that's just going to show about how much cloud cover we're going to see heading into your Wednesday and Thursday. And depending on how westerly it goes or how far to the west that it's going to move, that's going to be a big deal as far as how much rain we're going to see. So here's what it does. It's kind of oblong all over the place. It starts to get a pretty tight rotation, and actually would make a technical landfall if it does become a tropical depression by about your Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And there's 2 scenarios. This one is actually showing that, hey, it moves onshore and then it bounces back out in the Atlantic. If we can press this thing a little bit closer to Charleston, even edging towards Columbia, we're looking at widespread rain for the Charlotte area. And then eventually the backside of this is going to allow for pulses of rain, keeping things pretty stormy on and off through the weekend, especially late day heading into the evening. So let's get there. For your Wednesday morning, we see clouds start to increase. So I think that you're going to have what's developing into a mostly cloudy to an overcast Wednesday, turning overcast by day's end. By about 11 p.m. Wednesday evening, heading into Thursday morning, here comes the rain. It's knocking on the door, especially to the southeast. That's where we're looking at the highest rain totals. So on and off rain is going to be a possibility of Charlotte. The one thing that we don't really know, and we'll know by this time tomorrow here on WCNC Plus, is how far west that this thing is going to travel. And this primarily is really from Albemarle to Lancaster to the southeast. That's where most of the rain is going to develop. And you can already see for our 7-day rainfall outlook, we're only putting ourselves in the range anywhere from up to about 1 inch to 2 inches max. But you see a lot of these purples and reds further to the southeast. That's representing that some areas could have 3 to 4 inches of rain alone from this over a couple-day period. So keep that in mind. We will have a chance for some flooding on the eastern side of the state, and we are keeping a close eye on that because it is developing. Yesterday we were looking at, hey, you could have some rain and some clouds. Now it's looking like a little bit bigger impact to the Carolinas. That's also bringing our temperature down. I moved us back down to the upper 70s to the lower 80s, depending where you are. But then right after that, summertime surging. Summertime when the living's easy and not so breezy and feeling humid. Right around 90 degrees by Saturday. Could be our first 90-degree high for the year. 87 on Sunday, Monday. Really Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are the best chances for just pop-up showers and thunderstorms. The usual pattern for this time of the year. All right, Majestic, what's going on?
I like to live in easy. Not breezy?
Not so breezy.
Not so breezy. I never heard that before. I like it. Well, the roads are looking breezy right here. This is I-77 out of our York counties. But you can see that's not going to be the setup for everyone as you're heading out the door. Lots of accidents that are ongoing a little closer to the Charlotte area. Let's start with this one because we have some significant slowdowns. I-77 southbound right here near the Brookshire Freeway, exit 11. Toll lanes have been impacted there, so really just make sure you're mindful of that. There's a crash on Wilkinson Boulevard at Remount Road. We're seeing a lot of that yellow, just meaning some medium impacts there. Wanted to zoom it out just to put things into perspective even more. How backed up I-77 southbound is. I mean, we don't have any significant accidents there. It's just definitely slow moving. If you typically take Independence inbound, you know how it goes this time of the day. It's already a slow moving road, but we now have 2 ongoing accidents that's making it even worse. This is a toll lane that was being delayed, I-77 near Brookshire Freeway. You can see they've actually cleared the accident and cars are now able to drive through. There is just a little bit of a backup because of what had happened. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll have a final look at that traffic update.
It's time for our Tuesday morning tailwagger, along with our friends over at Animal Care and Control. Last week at this time, we featured this big guy by the name of Tiber. Tiber looking unhappy because he is still there. Maybe he'll find his forever home this week. Let's bring on today's tailwagger, a very happy-go-lucky Spyro. Spyro, believe it or not, is 9 years old, but you would never know it. He weighs somewhere from about 55 to 60 pounds. A playful guy, but really calm and very gentle, and a very happy dog. Knows commands. He's house trained, crate trained, put him on a leash, and he is a great dog. His name is Spyro. Available over at Animal Care and Control. They're open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can make an appointment by calling 704-336-7600. That's the number. One more time, take a look at this guy, lip smacking good. He weighs about 55 to 60 pounds. Doesn't act 9 years old, but his name is Spyro, and he is our very special Tuesday morning tailwagger.
Charlotte food pantries are seeking solutions this morning to growing food insecurity across our community. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden has a look at one pantry that's collecting food that would otherwise go to waste.
We visited 3 food pantries across the city of Charlotte and heard the same thing. The need is greater than ever before. But at Feeding Charlotte, they're creating unique partnerships helping people across our community.
There is a lot of work to be done to feed the hungry in Charlotte.
Anywhere and everywhere, there's need.
Rich Armenia runs Feeding Charlotte, a hunger relief organization that rescues extra food that would otherwise go to waste and gets it to people in need.
I've heard it described as the dumbest problem that we face in the United States. So it really takes an organization like Feeding Charlotte to act as kind of the conduit in between where food is wasted and where it's needed.
We're talking Bank of America Stadium, Sam's Club, Atrium hospitals, mom and pop restaurants. Volunteers drive their own cars, pay for their own fuel to collect the food from these places and deliver it to people in need.
Last year was our biggest year by far. We actually grew by 570% last year, impact-wise.
Feeding Charlotte works with 208 donor organizations, and they deliver to 83 groups. Everything from homeless outreach programs to senior living facilities, summer camps, and after-school programs.
I receive food from Feeding Charlotte. I prepare the food, and then I serve it within the community.
Betty Alexander is one of the people who makes weekly food drops.
And once I got connected with Feeding Charlotte, it was just so much food coming in to where we could just go out and serve, many people. So that's what we do. It just feels good because, nobody's going hungry.
In fact, there are more than 100,000 people who are food insecure in Mecklenburg County alone. The work Feeding Charlotte is doing is imperative, helping organizations like Hearts and Hands Food Pantry that just lost federal funding that they relied on.
We were a major recipient of the local foods purchasing agreement through the USDA through a partnership with our food hub here in Charlotte named Fresh List. So we were part of that program since 2021, and those produce costs were completely covered for us as an organization. It's very expensive to procure, and so the rug got pulled with that funding getting cut, and now we were in a situation where it's like, we have to cover all of this.
But they can't.
Well, the first thing that we had to do was, we have to decrease amounts of food that we're able to give people.
Feeding Charlotte used to deliver an average of 50,000 meals a year. This year, they expect that number to be a whopping 400,000 meals. It's a good news, bad news situation. They have more partners and more people helping, but also more mouths to feed. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
Check this out. Last weekend, hundreds gathered in Wisconsin in the woods for an unusual festival to celebrate sirens. From vintage alert systems to modern day emergency tech, it's called Siren Con. the loudest convention you've probably never heard of. The event celebrated its 6th year with enthusiasts from 30 states, 5 different countries coming to take part in this thing. Very popular. The setup looks kind of like a music festival, camping, chair lines. But here the performers are the Sirens.
Well, you know, some people like to collect old cars. You know, some people are really into gas and steam shows. We just happen to like tornado sirens.
Everybody has a thing, you know? For some people, it's a siren. Organizers say the convention has grown from just 19 people in its first year to 600 coming out this past weekend.
I'm curious what type of person loves those types of things. I guess if you like collectible items that are loud.
Sure.
I have no clue.
I don't know, but we were joking about that. What happens if there's actually a tornado? It was just like, is that Steve's siren or is that real?
Yeah.
Surely they have some sort of indication in case something like that happens.
See, that red one was huge.
Big.
And you saw how proud he
thing.
was.
That's
So
wouldn't you be too?
And they probably look
With a
forward
siren
to
like
it
that?
all year.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Something we're looking forward to, the live impact news stream coming your way in just about 5 minutes. Jane Monreal standing by with that. She's going to have all the breaking events as they happen. Before we get to her, though, we're going to have another check of your forecast and traffic right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. Look at those blue skies. We do see a little bit of this brownish color. What's going on? That literally is picking up on the atmospheric haze, a little bit of that smoke that's still left over in the atmosphere that came down from Canada. 65 degrees is our current temperature right now in Hickory, 70 degrees in Charlotte. It's going to be a warm one, but it's going to be a great one. It's not overly humid today. Still feeling just fine, kind of just right like the baby bear's porridge. Plenty of sunshine today. And then going forward, the Knights are back in town. Going to be great for sitting in the stands watching some baseball. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast has more clouds tomorrow. Good chance for rain on Thursday and even better chances into the weekend. Majestic?
It's beautiful outside for our Tuesday morning commute. Grab those sunglasses, take it easy, sending you a nice sunny day today, but we do have lots of accidents that are currently ongoing. This one here has been really causing some backups. I-77 southbound near Brookshire Freeway, but as we're looking at it now, of course it's a little frozen, but that has since been cleared, so good news for you if you typically drive that way. Otherwise, Wilkinson Boulevard at Remount Road, you may have a bit of a slowdown as well.